I would love for Berea to be wet.
I think it'd be awesome.
Yes. I think it would affect the whole town positively.
I mean, people get alcohol on campus anyways. It's not a secret. I mean, people go to Richmond or whatever, so it probably wouldn't affect campus much at all, to be honest.
That'd be great. I wouldn't have to drive to Richmond.
If they sell alcohol on Berea, we will go. Of course, like we'll go, we'll buy, we'll drink. That's the thing.
I mean, I don't see when we have a tavern, a historic tavern here, it makes sense if we sold alcohol.
I feel like it really wouldn't make a difference because kids get alcohol from outside of Berea anyways, like Lexington and Richmond.
Just make it easier to obtain alcohol. I'm of age, so I feel like I should be able to drink it.
I wouldn't want to be around drunk people because drunk people act crazy.
I don't have a problem with it if people want to drink. They can drink.
It's bad. For my religious perspective, it's like a sin.
Being in a city that's mostly 18 to 24-year-olds, and that is the highest group of people who are killed in auto accidents, I might feel like my life might be a little bit more in danger.
I think drinking is a fascinating and enjoyable hobby.
I'd be able to sit around and watch my friends drink, and that's always a good time for me. That's always a good time for me.
The very beginning of the college, I think, is summarized very well by John G. Fee, who, writing to Gerrit Smith, who was a fellow abolitionist, wrote, "We mean to make Berea to Kentucky what Oberlin is to Ohio. Anti-slavery, anti-caste, anti-rum, and anti-sin." Alcohol was seen at that time, as it is by many today, but particularly in those days, as really a demon that destroyed everything in its path. And it was viewed, particularly in Protestant America, as being among one of the more dreadful ills that affected society. So it's not unusual that the founders of this college would subscribe to that same perspective. And from the very beginning, Berea would be regarded as what we would have then called a temperance institution. There was a time in Kentucky's history where distilleries were legal everywhere. There were, I believe, legal distilleries in the Berea, what are now the Berea city limits, but they were driven out by an organization that formed of mostly community people as well as members of the college called the Women's Christian Temperance Union. And there's a famous story of a legal distillery that was operating just beyond the boundaries of the town to the west of the campus. And the women made a regular practice, the members of the WCTU made a regular practice of going out to this distillery and dropping to their knees and praying in front of it. And the owner was sufficiently shamed that he moved it to Garrett County, even after prohibition had been passed in the United States legislation. There were women who may or may not have been members of the WCTU who described themselves as the ladies of Berea, who wrote to President William Hutchins, again this is the 1920s, naming names and listing where illegal stills and distilleries were located, and urging the president to use his influence with the Madison County Sheriff to drive them off. And the heart of the school, of course, by being an anti-slavery and anti-caste institution, was to see to it that regardless of color, regardless of gender, all persons could receive educational opportunities and to become whatever it was they chose to be. I think what the college has to decide, what the campus has to decide, is this decision in keeping with who we think we are and with who we claim to be? It's It's been a very powerful argument that, we don't, well, our students drive to Richmond and then they get hammered and then they drive home, and isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
The answer to that is yes. The fact is we've had one fatality in 26 years.
I bought Main Street in 2005 and started up in 2006, I believe, February 2006. Yeah. Well, it has been a challenge. We were very busy at the beginning, but things change. The economy changes, and especially the last 2 or 3 years have been a challenge. What matters here is all the money that could have stayed in Berea that we sent somewhere else. Personally, I believe it's $4 million a year that Berea says no to. See, Berea has been dry at least since the prohibition in the 1930s. So we're talking about an 80-90 year stretch of non-legal alcohol sale in Berea. That's a long time. And I'm really afraid that if it doesn't happen, Berea will miss the boat. But we also know a lot of people leave again. Even from this restaurant, they sit down, take a look at the menu card, and they would like to order a beer or a glass of wine, and then they can't get it. And they say, I'm sorry, where can we get it? Well, you have to go 10 miles up the road to we can get it. And they say, so long, maybe we'll see you later. If we want tourism to grow here in Berea, we really need to make sure that the shops are open. The only way to accomplish that, from my point of view, is to legalize alcohol sale in Berea. We have to tiptoe around it, and we have to do it right. We don't want to just serve alcohol because it's cool to serve alcohol. Maybe it's not the place to serve alcohol, but I would like it to be. It would be great if Boone Tavern served alcohol. They have sometimes private parties, and they close down the hotel and they serve alcohol. Or they have a cash bar. And the golf club, they serve alcohol all the time. It's illegal. Everybody knows it. The mayor knows it, the city council member knows it, the police knows it. It's illegal, but it happens anyway. Right. So it is about time to stop the illegal sale of alcohol, whether it's at the country club or if it's bootleggers. Why don't we just legalize it? Make it legal, and let's try to enter the 21st century. Well, I think some people think it's morally incorrect to sell alcohol. And it can be from a religious point of view, or it could be from a non-religious point of view. Just people don't want alcohol in town because they find it's a safer town or environment to raise your kids. I grew up in an environment where we had wine and beer on the table all the time. And I don't think we'll create more alcoholism just because we sell alcohol. Because people who are alcoholics, they are already alcoholics. And other people, they are against alcohol in Berea, but they go to Richmond and drink it. Right. Right. Or they go on a cruise and drink it. And they go to the golf, what is called bowling alley, and bring their children. Maybe they don't drink alcohol, but they can get alcohol there. They can go to Red Lobster. Maybe they don't buy it, so it's a choice. You can choose to buy it or not to buy it. So, I go to Richmond and eat too, and I can choose not to, or choose to. And I think that is very important to bear in mind. Many people like tradition, and they can't break away from tradition. But I think that if tradition doesn't work any longer, then we need to change it and create a new tradition where we want positive growth. We have created a small group that works with alcohol called Bereans for Positive Economic Progress. And we have discussed different options like restaurants that can seat more than 50 people, or restaurants that can seat 100 people, or the full package where you could actually have a bar and have a liquor store. And we have come to the conclusion in our little group that we think it's best to have the full package. A restaurant that can seat more than 50 people, like Main Street Cafe for example, would not benefit enough from it because there are many obstructions combined with it. For example, if it was restaurants that could seat more than 50 people, we could, for example, not have a winery in town. And we would like people to see the options instead of the obstructions. So if we, for example, vote for a full package in Berea, it means that there is an opportunity for so many different other business opportunities. Small wineries, beer producing companies. It will just be fantastic. And I believe within the first year we can create 150 jobs in Berea. And that could influence 150 families who needs an extra income. And it's so important that we get it. We're missing the boat if we don't do it. I know there's a petition going around right now for a historic vote, but the only place, if that passes in Berea East, that can serve alcohol is Boone Tavern. I think it will be to our advantage, because there will be more people coming to Boone Tavern, and then we'll get the overflow of people. It will be more attractive, so we'll get something out of it. But I think we should look at it from the whole city point of view, not just this isolated point of view. So we have come to a conclusion that we would like to pursue a full package. We have talked with, and we have information for other cities, for example in Danville, and in Lancaster, and in Corbin, and Elizabethtown, from police chiefs who have said that there's no increase in drunk driving. And the reason is, for example, from Berea's point of view, is that we are having a lot of people going to Richmond. And what do? They drink beer or wine or whiskey or whatever they do, and they drive back drunk. If they stay in town, maybe they could walk instead of drive. So we want to eliminate that danger too on our highways and back roads, you know, there's so many accidents in Madison County or in Kentucky for that matter. You know, we can eliminate maybe 40, 50, 60% of all accidents if we serve alcohol here.
Having grown up in dry communities, I understand the reasons behind it, but I don't agree with them, and I don't think they're economically justifiable.
I myself don't drink, and constantly ask people that do. If they can tell me one positive thing that comes out of drinking, then I'll be okay with it.
I'm accountable for my own decisions, so if I decided to buy alcohol and drink, that's my decision.
Personally, I just think it would be gangbusters. We could buy booze here locally.